Well, you talk about your fans and I know as well as anybody like how much the fan base means to my career. And when did you start doing conventions? And because most people associated conventions with Star Trek for the longest time. So when was that presented to you, and when did you did you always know the fans were a huge part of your career, or was that something, that relationship you formed later?
Well, for me, it began with film festivals, and I would attend film festivals all over the world. I'd have a movie coming out, and I would get this huge fan experience would happen at a film festival, and they would always beg me. They would try to set aside a time on Sunday for me to sign autographs, and that happened to me in Brussels, and it happened to me in Spain and a couple of places. And then when I did V, which was, I felt, and you've known this now with several of your big projects, but I felt the huge attention of the science fiction audience.
Yeah.
And just how big it is and how smart they are. I mean, they know more about the show than I do. And I did my first con in New York, right across the street from the Diamond District, the old Roosevelt Hotel, and right outside is where they filmed Marathon Man with Olivier and Dustin Hoffman in that famous chase scene. Mm. And is it safe? And it was just me and William Shatner.
Huh.
That nobody else. And wow. I thought my line was there for V. And my line was actually longer than Bill's that day. And this is a long time ago. Bill's lines have progressively certainly gotten longer since then. But the reason my line was longer was because the head of New Line Cinema came to take me out to a fancy New York lunch. And he said, look at that. These Freddie fans are crazy. And I said, Bob, it was Robert Shea, head of New Line. I said, Bob, these people are here for V. These are my V fans. They're here for Willie, the good alien. And he goes, no, they're here for... And I said, no, Bob. And he said, come here. So we walked, and the V fans, my sci-fi fans, made it across the ballroom floor to the door. And then outside in the rain, there was 2 blocks of black leather-clad girls in corsets and punk rock makeup and guys with mohawks and dorm rats from New Jersey and heavy metal kids. And those were the Freddie fans standing in the rain. And I went, well, we're onto something here.
Yeah, the people that are going to scare the shit out of Bill Shatner.
Yeah, and I was there for free. I did that show for free.
Oh, wow.
Because I got round trip first class airfare to New York.
Yeah.
Oh my God, that's all I needed. And I got taken out to a fabulous lunch at the Sherry Netherland. But
yeah.
But that was why I was just so grateful for that. And I learned at some point after Freddy versus Jason, so this is post 2005, so that's almost 20 years ago, I started to really take the cons seriously. And now I sort of pick and choose when I can where they are located somewhere I really like to go.
Yeah.
New York, if they're New York adjacent or Chicago adjacent or San Francisco adjacent or New Orleans adjacent or London adjacent or Paris adjacent. Those are my favorite shows.
Yeah. This episode is brought to you by Masterclass. You know that feeling when your brain is just done, right? You've been in go mode all day and suddenly you realize you haven't done one thing that actually filled you up. That's when I personally open Masterclass. It's become just this little reset, something that inspires me instead of drains me. With Masterclass, you can learn from the best to become your best. Plans start at just $10 a month, billed annually, and you get unlimited access to over 200 classes taught by incredible leaders, artists, and creators, people who've actually lived what they teach. I've been taking this Shonda Rhimes class on storytelling, and it genuinely changed how I approached my own creative work. She talks about trusting your voice even when it feels scary. And that really, for me, hits home. The classes fit into any schedule. You can even download them to watch online. And honestly, they just make you want to keep growing. Right now, our listeners get an additional 15% off any annual membership at masterclass.com/Katee. That's masterclass.com/Katee for 15% off. Go learn something that reminds you what you're capable of.